Hi, in this video I'm just going to walk you through the detailed view of a task index, and I really wanted to emphasize the fact that you're able to essentially format the description that you have within each of the tasks, and that's quite important, particularly when we're communicating to developers or other people. It's not so bland. We can actually see distinction, delineation between certain items that exist within that. So what I've done here is clicked into edit mode. Simply just click on it, and then you can actually see the key description. So here's one I prepared earlier, so to speak, but I'm showing you how you can emphasize headings, you can add italics, bolding, and so on and so forth. All of the key things that you would normally expect that you can do. And from a coding point of view, if you're so inclined, then you can always go in and show how to highlight certain syntax commands and things like that. So that's what it looks like in terms of editing it, and once it's saved, then the formatting will appear as such. So it's just a very quick one about formatting. Quite a useful thing, I find. In terms of the rest of the detail and the rest of the particular task itself, adding in comments and things like that. As you can see here, my comments, I've added a few checklist items. I've dragged and dropped an item into the feed, and it's really just as simple as dragging and dropping something onto that particular board. That's my son's 3rd birthday, so I won't add that in there. It's not relevant, but nonetheless, you can go in and add your comments. If I want to speak to Chris or to Lucas or something like that, then just simply click their name and message. And off it goes. He'll get notified on that particular item, which is great. Over here on the right, we've got a few key things. I'll really let you explore the use of each and every one of those, but key things to be cognizant of. Within status, you don't just have to drag and drop cards within the board view. You can just move things along by clicking on the status and then selecting the next item in the flow. In addition, you can go in and add your members. So if I want Chris to see all comments about that particular task, then he can, and then adding and removing different tasks. We want to make sure that when you're working on a specific task, that if you've got checklist items that you need to knock off to get it done and you just don't want to forget about it, that's kind of your to-do list and the key things that you need to go in and get done. Tagging, I find, is really useful. In the previous video, you'll have seen that we're using tagging quite extensively within the board, and it's just a good visual cue to understand where are all of the cards that are pertaining to something Slack related or settings or enhancements that we want to make across the system. The only other thing that I'll show you here, the rest of it should be fairly self-explanatory as you go through, but one of the key features that we like to celebrate is the ability to copy a particular card or user story or whatever you want to call it and move it to another project. Because sometimes our lives can be repetitive, we can repeat the same thing over and over, so we can just copy to board and we can select whether we want to include the comments and the images and all of those things that are associated, or we can choose not to, copy the checklist items and then just move it to a respective project. And there we go. Thanks very much.